All right. So again, when you draw your picture, make sure angle A and side A are opposite each other. Angle B and side B are opposite, and angle C and side C are opposite. Okay. All right. The law of sines allows you to solve a triangle as long as you know either of the following: two angles and a non-included side, or two angles and the included side. Okay. Or you'll get two sides in a non-included angle. Those are the three situations you're going to use the law of sines. When we get to Monday, in law of cosines, you get two other situations, okay? But those are the three situations you'll have, okay, when we do this law of sines, okay, which is again up there. And if you flip these fractions, if you put little a over sine of A, and little b over sine of B, and little c over sine of C, that's okay. It'll still work. Just be consistent. Don't flip-flop them. All right? A lot of times I write it the other way when I put the side over the angle, but let's look at an example. So here I have two angles in one side, all right? So I have to find these three things. I have to find side E, side D, and angle E to solve my triangle. That's how they're going to start. You're going to have three bits of information, three pieces, all right? And then you're going to find the missing three pieces, all right? So whenever I have two angles of a triangle, I always find the missing angle first, because we all know the three angles add up to what? 180, right? So all I do is go to find angle E on my calculator. I just go 180 minus 33 minus 28. That'll give me what angle E is. Okay? So 180 minus 33 minus 28. That's 119. We'll make it a different, well, that's all right. We'll make it red. So that's 119 degrees. We call that an obtuse angle, right? Because it's bigger than 90. The 33 and the 28 we call acute angles because they're less than 90. All right, so we got that done. So we're going to use the 28 degrees and the 15, all right, for one of our fractions, because that's what they gave us. All right. To find D, all right, side D would be there. I'd use the sine of 33, the one opposite side D, which was angle D. For side E, I want to use the sine of 119 because that's angle E. Oops, not E. I know what it is. So there's the two proportions that I set up to find side E and side D. Questions? So that's using the law of sines. Now I just have to finish by solving for D and solving for E. All right, so in my calculator, I guess I should have done this. Give ourselves a little more room. Let's see if I can do this. See if these stay together. Not all of it. All right, so I'm going to go D times the sine of 28 equals 15 times the sine of 33. I'm just showing all the work. Most of you guys are going to do this all in your calculator, which is okay. So most of you are just going to put all that in your calculator. You can see that by looking at it, okay? when I do that, 15 times the sine of 33 divided by the sine of 28, we're going to have our side line. All right. Again, I better check, make sure I'm in degree mode. Yeah, I'm in degree mode. So just hit the mode button and make sure degrees highlighted. Just hit clear to get out of there. All right. So 15 sine. When you hit the sine button, and it's right here, kind of in the middle. All right, above your parentheses and your comma there. It gives you that left parenthesis. So when I put 33, make sure you close it off, okay? And then divide it by sine of 28, and then close it off, all right? Once you close it off, you're fine. And that's going to give us our answer then, 17.4. We usually go in tenths. Thanks, Abe. You don't need a pass, right? No. Okay. All right. And then for E, when I cross multiply, it's going to be E times the sine of 28. And again, it'll give you the parentheses. Equals 15 times the sine of 119. And then you're going to divide by the sine of 28 to get E alone. Now, little trick I'll show you to save yourself some typing. Okay. Is if you hit second enter, it'll repeat what you just typed in, and then we can just use our arrow keys and move over and put the right number. All right, so this time I got the 15, now I need 119. So I'm going to have to insert a 1 because I have a 3-digit number. Oh, now it inserted all that. All right, so I had to delete. And that's it, all right? The rest is right there. The 15 stays the same, and the 28, sine of 28 stays the same. So 27.9 would be side E. So there's our three answers. We just solved that triangle using the law of sines. So as long as you're in degree mode, you shouldn't have an issue. Any questions on that example? So I had two of the angles. The first thing I did was find the missing angle because I added or subtracted the two angles from 180 because all three add up to 180. And then I set up my two proportions, my law of sines. Okay? So they didn't use ABC, they used DEF. You can still do it. Just remember, when you set it up, it's the sine of the angle over the opposite side. They match up. Capital D, small d. Capital E, small e. Capital F, small f. Okay? Questions? Okay. All right. So I guess that's all examples we needed. All right. For that. Now, sometimes, again, that was when you got two angles and one side. When you get two sides and one angle like this, we call this the ambiguous case. Because you can get 0, 1, or 2 triangles. Okay? Sometimes information they give you, when you try to put those angles and side lengths together, the triangle doesn't actually meet. You can't really get a triangle that's closed up. So that's when you're going to have 0 triangles. Okay? Sometimes you're going to get 1 triangle, but there's once in a while you can get 2 triangles out of the information you're given. All right? So what we're going to do is we're going to use our law of sines and figure out if we have an angle. You'll get an error message if we don't. All right? And then That makes sense. A 2 is greater than 90, the other two a cube less than 90 because you got to add up to 180, right? We'll just figure out if there's one triangle, we're using the law of sines. I don't use this values of A, B, and measure to determine the number of I just go ahead and set it up, and you'll get an error message when you try to do it. That just tells you there's no triangles, okay? If you don't get an error message, then you got to check for a second triangle, all right? So let's look at one. All right, so we got using the measurements A, 50, B, 20, and angle A, 28. So again, I just draw a quick picture. Again, it doesn't have to be perfect, all right? And I just make A, B, C, whatever I want. That doesn't matter. Remember, angles are capital letters. Angle A was 28 degrees. Side A would be 50, so that's over here. Remember, angle A there, straight across the side A. Angle B is up here, so straight across, side B is down here. So we have two sides and an angle that's not included. All right, the included angle would have been angle C. If we get that situation, we're going to use the law of cosines, which I'll show you how to do that on Monday. All right, so the only thing I can find from this information is this angle B right here. Okay, so I'm going to set it up as sine of 28 over 50 equals the sine of angle B over 20. Okay, that's the only thing we can set up. All right, so when we cross multiply, we're going to have 50 times the sine of B equals 20 times the sine of 28. What am I going to do to get the sine of B by itself? Divide by 50, right? All right. So when we do this part, this answers what the sine of B is. We're going to have to do an extra step here to find the angle. So make sure you pay attention when we get to that. You should be paying attention anyway, right? So I'm going to put 20 sine of 28. Remember, close it off. Divided by 50. All right, and I get that decimal, 0.1878 if I round it. All right, so the next step, this is the extra step you have to do to find the angle B, is inverse sine. Okay, let me show you how to do that on your calculator. All right, I already have that 0.1878 in there, right? So here's all you have to do. Hit second sine, and that gives you that inverse sine. And then hit second, the negative sign for answer. So what it just did is it put that big decimal in for you. I always like to close it up. I don't think you really have to. And this, now, when I hit enter, if it says error, that's going to be 0 triangles, okay? If I don't get an error, it's at least one, and I'm going to have to check for the second, and I'll show you how to do that here in a second. So I'm going to hit enter, and I got an answer. I didn't get an error, so that's a 10.8 degree angle, all right? All right. Now, to see if there's a second triangle, all right, you find the supplement of that. What does that mean? Two angles add up to 180. Thank you. So what we're going to do, all right, I'm checking for a second triangle. All right, so I'm going to do 180 minus 10.8. All right, so I'm going to go 180 minus, I already have 10.8 in there, so I'm going to hit second answer again, second negative sign. And And that's 169.2. All right. Then what you do is you add the original angle you knew. Okay. So I'm going to put plus 28 and hit enter. I get 197.2. If this answer if it's greater than 180, there's only one triangle. And I just said less than, didn't I? Duh. Sorry about that. If that answer is greater than 180, there's only one triangle. So in this problem, there's only one triangle because 197 is bigger than 180. But if that answer was less than 180, then there's two triangles. Okay? Let me go through that again. We got that angle B was 10.8 degrees. We find the supplement of 10.8, so that means we subtract it from 180 and we get 169.2. And then we add the original angle they gave you, and that became 197.2. Since it was bigger than 180, that answer, there's only one triangle. But if it's less than 180, I would have had to look for the second triangle. Okay? And if it was a second triangle, then this supplement would have been the second angle B. Right? If this would have been less than 180, this is the number that I would put for the second. So I'd have the same picture here, 28, 50, and 20. That doesn't change. But the 10.8 would change to the 169.2. And then I'd finish up. Okay? All right, so we got to finish up. Since I know two angles, all right, I'm going to subtract those from 180. 28 plus 10.8 is 38.8. So I'm going to go 180 minus 38.8. I get 141.2. That's my missing angle C. So these three angles add up to 180 now. So what do I have to do to finish solving that triangle? What is missing? Side AB, right, which is angle, or side C we call it, right? I got the three angles, I got two of the sides, I need to find this side C, okay? So I go back to my law of sines, and I'm going to use the 50 and the 28 again, sine of 28 over 50. And then sine, what was it, 141.2 over C. Let me check, make sure I remember it. Yeah, 141.2. So this angle, opposite side C, that's the one I want. So then, it's going to be C times the sine of 28 equals 50 times the sine of 141.2 divided by the sine of 28. All right, so 50 sine 141.2, close it up, don't forget that, divided by sine 28, close it up, and that's 66.7. So there's our three answers. 10.8, 141.2, those are in degrees, those are the two angles. The missing side was 66.7. Okay? So that's the ambiguous case because we had two sides and one angle. If you have two angles, you don't have to worry about trying to do that. Only when you have two sides. Okay, Elena? Mm-hmm. Questions? So we didn't have to find that second triangle. I had one there. But again, if you get an error, which will happen once in a while, just means no triangle. Okay.
So you can't do you did that a squared, b squared.
You can't do that
because it's not the right triangle.
because they're not right triangles. Correct. We have to do law of sines. If it was right triangle, we'd do it like we did on our quiz we just had. But we can't do that now. We don't have the right triangle or right angle. Okay? Any other questions? All right. So, again, we'll draw a picture. It doesn't have to match, just so it's a triangle. All right, angle A was 39. And side A is 14. That's straight across, right? Side B is 20. So, same picture as we had. We have two sides and one angle. So, this could have 0, 1, or 2 triangles. Okay? So, setting it up, let's go with blue this time. Sine of 39 over what? 14. Good. The one opposite. Sine of B over what? 20. We good on setting it up? All right. So this is another one where we're looking for the angle. So we're going to do our cross multiply divide and then hit second sign, second answer. Okay? So I'm just going to do it because you guys should be good now. 20 times that divided by 14, right? Cross multiply and divide. So 20 sine 39, close it up, divided by 14. Okay? So I'm going to hit second sign, second answer. And if I get an error, we'll say no triangle. I did get an error. So there's one triangle for sure. So angle B is 64 degrees. All right. So I'm going to check for that second triangle. So I go 180 minus 64. 180 minus 6, oops, not 50, 64. 116. Guess I really didn't need that calculator. What am I going to add to that? 39. Is that going to be bigger or smaller than 180? Smaller. So what's that tell us? There's two triangles. What was that? 155? Less than 180. Two triangles. All right. So what I do is start drawing that one too. The original stuff doesn't change. But my new angle B is the supplement of the 64 that we got. So this is 116. All right. What did I already do in my calculator? I already added those, didn't I? So since that 155 is already in my calculator, I'm going to finish the second triangle first because it's already in my calculator. Does that make sense? Save yourself some time instead of starting over. All right? So there's that 155. So I'm going to go 180 minus that answer. That gives me the missing C, 25 degrees. All right? And then I'm just going to go look for this side C now, since 25 is already in my calculator. All right? So I'm going to go sine of 39 over 14 equals the sine of 25 over C. So I got the 25 in my calculator, so I'm going to go sine of that answer times 14 divided by sine of 39. All right? So sine of my answer times 14 divided by sine 39. That's going to give me the missing c, 9.4. So my second triangle's done. Okay. So now I'm going to go back and finish this angle C and this side C. Okay? So I'm going to go 64 plus 39. And 180 minus that. 77. And then I'm going to find that one. So I'm going to go sine of 39 over 14 again. And now my C angle is 77 over C. Man. Yeah. So 14, I got the 77 in there. So I'm going to go sine of that answer, times 14. I don't need to put times. It knows it's multiplication. Divided by sine of 39. Close it up. And get 21.7 to the nearest 10. And I've solved both triangles. I found the 3 missing pieces of both. So that one takes a little more time because you have to find that second triangle. We good? Law of sines? Did you guys learn this in the geometry? This review, isn't it? That's what I thought. I think that's it for examples today. Yeah. So I have a worksheet for you to do numbers 4 to 12. Okay? And like I said, on Monday we'll learn law of cosine. We'll have a quiz over law of sines and cosines next Friday. That'll be our last quiz, and then we'll start getting ready for exam. Just kind of give you what's going on next.